So I've been getting this question a lot lately. How did I get my CCW permit in the state of California? In this episode, I'm gonna go over my CCW experience in the state of California. Stay tuned. So welcome to the channel, Fresh from the Range. My name is Mick. Yes, you heard that correctly, Mick, like Mick Jagger. Do I have the moves? We'll see later on. Like I was saying, I'm gonna go over my CCW experience in California. But first, if you could, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. So as I get into this, the first question in my head was, why get a CCW in general? Is it for protection, peace of mind, or do you want to just protect your loved ones? To be honest, I was oblivious as a new gun owner to how the process even started, how to get into it. There were a few years that I literally was going to do it. I got to checking online. I just gave up on the spot. And this is where diligence does come into play. If you want something, go out and get it. How can you find if you don't search? How can you do if you don't get up? So after all that time of putting it off, giving up, I finally bit the bullet literally and went for it. First off, you must know that yes, I am in the state of California. I am not in LA County. I'm actually in Ventura County, so that plays a big part in the ease of how I got my CCW. If you're going for LA, there is a few obstacles, but it is possible, and as of right now, I even have a family member myself has already put the paperwork in. I'm definitely hoping for the best for him. Like I was saying, I live in Ventura County. Special thanks to Sheriff Ayub putting in strong for the VCSO. So definitely the first thing to do is, yes, you can look up online, you can do whatever you want, but call the DOJ. Literally set up an appointment. You either leave a phone message or you set an email to them. Don't do both. They're gonna go in the line of how they get it, so usually it takes around 10 days. It took me 15 days to get a call back. I was literally waiting for a call and finally it came in. I did set up an appointment. This is when we get to phase one, and that pretty much is the application process. And this is where I have the screen open right here. So as it states, this is the venturasheriff.org Public Resources for Concealed Weapons Permit. It's super easy because it literally lays it out here, CCW application, and you literally click on it and there it is, 22-page document, so much fun. But this is the beginning stage of getting you to where you want to be. So definitely pay attention, read up, do everything correctly, because if something is wrong, something is lied about, something is anything, you'll get denied on the spot. Purpose of the application itself is to understand the good moral fiber of the person applying for the CCW. And in the application, they'll be checking for age, residency, as well as criminal convictions, into even the handguns that you are going to be testing with. So I literally printed out the application, filled it out myself, followed directions, waited for my appointment. Then when I went to the DOJ, I had to give $20 as well as my application, and that set forth the journey. And this is where phase two of that application comes in, the background check and live scan. Pretty much the same thing. So if you guys know about live scans, it is such a standard now to getting a job. In this case, they needed to check you, so you get a background check. I ended up calling my local place. They had to set an appointment. I had a day later, went in, got what I needed, and I had to pay 120 bucks. I mean, this is where you start seeing fees start adding up, but it's all worth it in the end. The best part about it, I got my paperwork and I actually scanned it with my phone and sent it to the VCSO CCW. So I didn't have to walk into my DOJ. My DOJ is about 45 minutes away from me, so I was happy about that. And the next step, which was a month later, I ended up getting an email from a senior deputy sheriff administration, which was the CCW investigation. They needed either a lease agreement from me, the first 2 pages of where I'm living, and any mail you receive at the address. And at the time, I ended up getting 2 degrees, so I ended up turning in that with it, and it was all over email. Again, I didn't have to go into my DOJ, go to the annex. It was straight and to the point through the email, and it actually worked out. 5 days later, I ended up getting an email stating that they got the email, so I was super happy. And this is when you get into phase 3, called determination. And this is when the approval letter showed up at my doorstep. And when you get that approval letter, you need to finish your training within 90 days of getting the approval letter. This was on me to find a licensed firearm instructor, VCSO approved in my area. The class was not supposed to exceed 16 hours. We went over safety, we went over law of permissible use of a firearm in certain situations, and it was a fun time overall. I ended up taking it with 6 other, they were a lot older than me, and actually I have a clip right here of doing some of the testing. I had somewhat of a camera laying on the right side, and I was actually controlling it with the Apple Watch. 2 handguns I qualified with were the Glock 22 40 cal, as well as the Springfield XD9 9mm. Experience overall with that is going to be how the firearms instructor reaches you mentally, just the way that they do things. It's gonna depend on that. So find a good one that you like. Make sure if you look up any reviews reviews on the instructor itself that something that's going to ease your mind, because I came in there open mind, loved everything about it, and like I said, it was a step-by-step process. Got through it. By the end of the day, I was a little tired. It was hot too that day. It was just the whole process of getting this brought me closer to it. It made me want it more. That class actually cost me $200, so that was another step in the right path. And this was not over. This was not over yet. This is where it comes down to it also about getting a good firearms instructor. It's going to be on them. It's their onus to actually turn in the original test as well as the qualifications of your score within the firearms training. So if they lag and they take a month to even send it, you're going to get it even later. I was lucky that my firearms instructor actually turned in my qualifications like the next day. That's what he told us. He's going to turn in the next day, give a call within 3 days later, and set your appointment. I ended up not calling, I ended up emailing them. By the time I was done and I emailed them, it was June 15th. By the time they emailed me back, it was July 13th. Just shy of a couple days of a month, and they gave me my appointment August 3rd. It was almost another month after that. So I mean, it's a long process, but like I said, it is worth it. So this is pretty much completion now. I literally walked in August 3rd at my appointment, 3 o'clock, walked straight in there, CCW Annex. I filled out the rest of my paperwork, thumbprints, ended up paying an $80 local fee, which finished my payments off right there. Ended up getting my photo taken, as well as receiving an actual permit in paper. You have to keep that paper in your gun safe, and when you renew, you end up bringing that one back. So keep it safe, and not only do you get the paperwork, but yes, you get a hard card.
I like the sound of that.
All that time, all the fees, all the process to get this card and the permission and license to carry. But getting it the first time, it went so smoothly. I've heard a lot of stories about people having issues, problems. The investigation process does kind of pry within your personal statures of things. So you got to keep an open mind, be an open book. If you do have something to hide, maybe don't do this. But if you don't, like my case, I really didn't have anything to hide. I barely had a paper trail. Like I state in my bio that I am just a law-abiding citizen, just practicing my Second Amendment rights. So thank you anybody who was watching and stayed with me this long, because it was a time-consuming process, but like I said, it was worth it all in the end. It's a big thing for me getting this for my first time. I was issued it August 3rd, and now it's August 10th, and I carry all the time. It is part of me. It is a second science. It's almost like I feel naked without it now. There's certain times when I can't. Going into different areas, I can't. So that's why I learn up the laws. You can never get enough law and safety tips. Safety is everything, as well as concealment is everything. Don't be the dumbass to mess up and do something wrong. And that's why paying attention to your class that you're going to be taking for the CCW course is going to be everything for you. Please be like a sponge, soak in everything. It's going to be useful to you in the end. That's why for me, being able to exercise my Second Amendment rights by personally having protection on me, I feel a lot closer to the Constitution and the freedoms that all men deserve. And again, if you could, make sure to like, comment, subscribe if this video helped you out with the whole process, keeping your mind at ease for you stepping forward and going into the path and journey to get your CCW. All I gotta say is be safe, protect yourself. This is Mick with Fresh from the Range.